The Cabinet Office is to investigate claims of sexual harassment against International Trade Minister Mark Garnier. It comes after he admitted asking his secretary to buy him sex toys, but denied that that was harassment. The investigation will consider whether his alleged behaviour constitutes a breach of the ministerial code.
What the Prime Minister has done today is to ask the Cabinet Office to investigate whether or not allegations that have been made about a colleague are in breach of the ministerial code. I think that's entirely appropriate. You should do that.
I think people at home will be quite angry about this because a bit like the Harvey Weinstein stuff, Parliament, like Hollywood, is very good at preaching to people what they ought to be doing and how they ought to be behaving. But I'm afraid this shows that in our own backyard, we don't live up to the high standards that we would expect others to.
Well, let's go live to Westminster now, and our political correspondent Lewis Goodall. And Lewis, where do we go from here?
Well, Becky, it all depends on what the Cabinet Office says. Now they will, of course, be searching the ministerial code. You won't be surprised to learn that there isn't a section on sex toys in there, but nonetheless, there is lots of bits on integrity and honesty and bringing ministers and ministerial jobs into disrepute. And now it will be up to the Cabinet Office to decide whether Mr. Garnier has done that. It has to be said that these allegations do actually refer to a time before he became a minister. So you could say, argue on a technicality, that really the ministerial code didn't apply, but nonetheless they are effectively principles set out in that document, really, that more or less apply to MPs in general. And then it will be up to the Prime Minister, Theresa May, to decide whether or not to remove him from office. But I think it's worth just bearing in mind that this is just the tip of the iceberg, really. We are expecting, in all likelihood, there to be more allegations in the coming days and weeks. We also had some allegations with regards to the former Welsh Secretary and Work and Pensions Secretary Stephen Crabb sending lewd and inappropriate messages to a 19-year-old work experience young lady who was trying to get work experience in his office. And Theresa May is going to have an answer and a response pretty quickly to any more allegations which come up. We also learned from the Sunday Times today, from a story from their political editor Tim Shipman, that the Prime Minister receives weekly updates about the various sexual misdemeanours of her backbench MPs. I think that if that is stood up, then questions are going to come the Prime Minister's way and towards the Chief Whip, Gavin Williamson, asking if they know about this sort of thing. Aren't they part of the problem, part of the whole problem that we're experiencing with institutions around sexual harassment, is that people in an authority and a position to do something about it often don't do it. So if the Prime Minister and others do know about some of these sorts of things, shouldn't they be referring it to the parliamentary authorities? Shouldn't they, in some cases, perhaps even be referring it to the police, or at the very least encouraging the people involved to come forward? The Prime Minister has said that she wants people to come forward. I think some people will be looking to her not only to talk the talk, but also to walk the walk on this.
You didn't frankly have the balls to put country before party.